Welcome to episode number 299 of Category 5 Technology TV. It is Tuesday, June the 11th, 2013, and I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm your co-host, Erica Lalonde. And coming up in the newsroom, apparently they can accurately control robots with simple thoughts now. A school code-breaking contest is set up to select the cybersecurity talent of tomorrow. The new PlayStation 4 will be around $100 cheaper than the new Xbox One. And Honda is building a lawnmower that moves at a top speed of 210 kilometers an hour. So stick around for these for these stories coming up in the showroom.
All right, guys, tonight is very exciting. We're continuing kind of our micro unofficial series on web server hosting and how to secure up our web servers. So tonight, actually, we're going to be looking at a couple of products that are going to tell you whether or not your website, your WordPress blog, or whatever you have going is susceptible to somebody hacking it, somebody turning it into a malware site. So we're going to show you a couple of different tools that are going to cost you absolutely zero. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be back right after this.
This is Category 5 Technology TV.
At Eco Alkalines, we believe you should be able to trust your batteries not just here, but here, and here. But with one exception, you should also be able to trust your batteries here. Eco Alkalines are the world's first and only certified carbon-neutral battery manufactured to the highest standards of recycling and quality, without any trace amounts of harmful chemicals like mercury, lead, or cadmium. Eco Alkalines provide performance that rivals leading national alkaline battery brands at a comparable price. Find out more about the Eco Alkalines difference. EcoAlkalines.com.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. It's episode number 293. Or 299. 299. What am I talking about? 299.
We're so close to 300.
1 week to go. I know. I'm obviously in a time warp loop here. Hey.
Hey. Well, welcome to our new registered viewers. We have Shivi and Boozfalo.
Or however you say these names, folks.
Or Chivi.
It's like Chevy, but with an extra E, so.
Chevy.
Welcome to the show. Hey, why would people want to register here at Category 5? Well, it's free for one thing. It allows you to receive extra features that are not available to non-registered viewers. So if you want to be able to receive an email from Category 5 just before the show goes live, even after the show has signed off the air, you'll receive an email with free downloads and links to get the HD video file, to be able to download the MP3 file if you want to listen to it on the road, and so on and so forth. And speaking of listening to Category 5 on the road, we have our Category 5 radio available to you, and it is at m.cat5.tv. You'll see it there. You can also listen on your computer, but ideally it's a great way to be able to listen to the show from your mobile device if you can't actually watch at that time. m.cat5.tv. We recently upgraded our mobile site. We've got the live streaming video, live streaming audio. Everything is right there, so make sure you check it out. Great to see everybody.
It is. It's good to be back as well. It's good to see everybody in the chat room. It's definitely been pretty intense. I'm in school for the summer.
You're back in, eh?
I'm back in school. I'm always in school.
Yeah.
And I'll be done in July and then back to school in the fall. So I'm still doing
So you literally get like 1 or 2 months down?
I get a month off.
A month off?
I get a month off.
Okay. Just enough time to regain. Well, that's cool. Things are going well.
But yeah, things are going well. I'm, enjoying the summertime in Toronto. It's quite nice. I've actually now learnt the bus system pretty well. I was like pretty much a tourist starting out.
Yeah.
Like I would get lost everywhere I go, but now when I go places, I'm getting to where I want to go.
You get used to it pretty quick, eh?
Yes, you do get used to it really quick, because if you don't, then you end up at the other end of Toronto, or you're in another city.
Why is it taking me 4 hours to get to school?
Well, I now have like my new rule. If you're on a bus more than 45 minutes, you're going the wrong way.
And then it takes an hour and a half to get where you're going.
Yeah. So
Exciting stuff happening this coming Monday, but technically we're actually recording on Thursday. But we are a member of the Tech Podcast Network, and if it's tech, it's here. But one of the things that we're involved with this week is that they have asked us to be a guest host, kind of guest host. So Category 5 host and co-hosts are going to be joining in for TPN Weekly. It's an online audio broadcast, and that's actually going to be available to you on Monday at blog.techpodcasts.com. But you can also just watch our Twitter feed. You see our Twitter down there is Category 5 TV. And of course, we're going to post it there as soon as it becomes available. But if you'd like to listen in on the actual recording session, it takes place, as you see on the calendar, at category5.tv. It takes place this Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Cool.
cool.
Should mention as well that we are a member of the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, and we're going to just pretty much get right into our feature tonight. That's cool. So I know that a lot of you and just a lot of us, it's fun to tinker with building a website. And one of the cool things that you can do is you can get out there, you can get WordPress, you can get Joomla, you can get all these different pieces of software, and you can use those to expedite the process of getting your own website built. So it can, using WordPress, you can build a really quick website and you can get online very, very quickly. But what happens if you don't apply the security patches, because maybe you just don't know how, or maybe you've never done it before, or maybe you install a plugin, something like that actually causes your system to become exploitable. That's what we're looking at tonight. I want to show you how we can basically determine, how we can determine if your website is exploitable, as well as your web server. So the first tool that I want to look at, and I told you that I would look at a couple of tools that are available to you free of charge, and they certainly are. The first one, of course, you're probably running a Linux server to run your website. If you're using a shared hosting service, it's possible that maybe you don't have access to logging into SSH and running scripts directly on the server. Maybe you only have FTP access or something like that. But if you're in a case where you actually have physical access to a server, or you built the actual box, or you're hosting it at home on a Linux box, something like that, then this initial piece of software that we're looking at is going to be for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this on my computer here, just to show you what it is that we can do in order to determine if our computer or our server is susceptible to hackers and malware and people exploiting our site. But first, why would that be a concern? I mean, why does it matter if somebody exploits our website? There are a couple of different reasons. First of all, if your website is getting hit by hacker attacks or exploited code, maybe they're using your website to send out spam, for example. That's just one thing that can be done using injection code. It'll affect the performance of your server. So all of the websites that you're hosting on that web server are going to be really, really slow, but also all of a sudden you wonder, why are none of my emails getting through? Why can't I send email to anybody? It always bounces back, because all of a sudden you find yourself on blacklists because somebody reports that there's a lot of spam coming out of this server that it's not you, it's somebody has exploited it, and so all of a sudden you're blocked. But it gets worse, because if you're in Google and you're working really, really hard to get up in the search engine results, Google, Bing, Yahoo, Alta Vista, whatever it may be that you're trying to get your rankings up in, if they detect that all of a sudden your site has been compromised, then guess what? You become a part of that blacklist as well. Or people who are running antivirus products on their computers, they go to your website and it says, can't go to this website, it's a security risk. So now you've got a loss of your reputation, because people don't feel like they can trust your website or your company if it's a company website. If it is a company website, then you've got the loss of revenue too. You've got this chance to actually lose sales, because people are going to your website and saying, whoa, I'm getting a warning here that there's some kind of a malicious software or something exploited on this website. So all of a sudden that becomes a really, really big problem. The other thing that I like to take into consideration is that I want my website viewers in our case, but my website visitors, I want them to be safe. I don't want to run the risk of distributing malicious programs onto their computer that could exploit them or possibly be involved in some kind of identity theft thing that happens to them. So I want to make sure that my server is as safe as possible. So step one is the server itself. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to install a piece of software that is going to allow us to scan our local server. So if you're SSH'd into this server or whatever you are, all we need to do is go sudo apt-get well, first we would do an update. Okay, I've already done that, so we're just going to go install Linus. And it's spelled a little bit differently than you would expect, Lynis, and then hit enter. Enter your password for super user, and you'll see that it's going to get one new package. And this one is just going to tell us, what could be done differently about our actual physical server to make it safer to be running websites on it. And it could be our computer or whatever. Really, really simple. You're going to love this. All we need to do is enter a really quick command, because now you see that it's installed and it's gone through okay. We've installed it with apt-get. You can install it with your favorite package manager. I happen to be on Point Linux, which is Debian 7. So all I'm going to do is go sudo, because we need to be sudo super user again, Linus-C, which is to say use all of the scans that we have possible and available to us, and then -Q, and that means just do it. Don't bother querying me. I don't want to have to hit enter every time that it runs a scan and finds something. I want it to just finish the scan and go through. So it's quiet mode, and it's just going to finish the whole thing and then output what it finds. So with that command, sudo linus-c-Q, hit enter, and you'll see that all of a sudden this amazing free scanner is going to go through my server or my computer and scan all open ports and possible software that is exploitable, things like that. But what's lovely about this, if I can say, is that it doesn't just detect, hey, by the way, you've got this exploit that could be problematic. It actually provides really good suggestions. And so this software will say, okay, well, here's what you need to do. You need to install a PAM module for password strength testing. That would be a good idea. And it actually goes step by step through every suggestion that it has based on your computer. And you may find some interesting things in here that you may not have thought about or realized would actually help improve the security of your server. Think about if it's co-located. Here's one here. Why don't you disable drivers like your USB storage when not in use? You could SSH in and disable your USB storage drivers, because what can happen is somebody on site could plug in a USB drive and all of a sudden they're walking away with your data, or your customer data, or your user's data. So we're thinking now not just for security as far as somebody hacking, but also data theft. So it gives some really, really great suggestions. That is called Linus. The next one that we need to do is we need to find out, okay, now that we know that our server is, this is what we need to do to our server. It's given us a full report. And I mean, it is a very, very comprehensive report. I didn't scroll up very, very, very far here. But look at all the stuff that it's tested here. I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Everything.
It's just gone through a ton of stuff just to tell me what I need to do to really solidify the security of my server. So now that we know that, we want to know, okay, well, maybe, this port is open, but I have a firewall, and so it's actually not open to the world because it's blocked at the firewall. Or maybe it's not a concern that port 80 is open because obviously we're hosting a website. So, but how do we know? Like I said at the beginning of the segment, I've got WordPress or I've got Joomla, and they're constantly bringing out security fixes and patches, but I'm not updating them because it's really, really tedious sometimes. Or maybe I just, maybe I installed my blog and I haven't used it yet. Or it's fallen by the wayside and it's just sitting there. Maybe I've got a Joomla 1.5 install and it's just sitting there. So all of a sudden that becomes really, really dangerous, because all the exploits that are found to this software that is publicly available, so you imagine WordPress. I can go and download WordPress and I can read through all the source code and find out exactly how it works. And then I can say, oh, looks like the programmers made a mistake here. They accidentally put a $sign instead of an ampersand. And so now I've got access and I've figured out a way to inject code into a website. So then I just do a search for any WordPress site and I start injecting. So the tool that I want to show you now is in fact going to test from the outside world what can be exploited on your server. It's going to throw script commands at your server's get line. So if you're watching your Apache logs, for example, you're going to start to see some really interesting stuff because it's going to basically test everything that they possibly can. So what I'll get you to do is bring up a simple website. Here's the address for you. cat5.tv/stopthehacker. It's as simple as that, cat5.tv/stopthehacker. And when we do that, it's going to take us over to a service called Stop the Hacker, and you'll see that it does a lot of different things. One of the things that it does is it detects malware. It detects whether there are exploitable scripts that are on your server that could be exploited. It checks ports. It sees if there's anything that's opened up that shouldn't be. It does a lot of stuff, and it's absolutely free to run this this scan, which they call the website vulnerability check. So all that you have to do is just enter your website address in here, just like that, and that would be your website. And you would go to cat5.tv/stopthehacker to get here, and we press the free vulnerability scan. And now it's going to ask me for very, very simple information: my email address, my domain, my first name and my last name, phone number, and so on. What I'd actually like to do, Erica, if I may, I think I should bring up my server log so that we can actually see what's going to happen here, because it is rather interesting to see firsthand what's happening when they run this scan. So I'm just gonna SSH into our server. We're gonna actually go with the real server. Here we go. I'm almost in. I am so secure. There's multiple levels of security. There we go. And now we are in that server. We've already looked at a couple weeks ago Apache Top, which is an amazing tool to allow me to see what's actually happening on my server. So I've got that running on the server now. We're going to jump over to our cat5.tv/stopthehacker. We're going to enter my email address. Get rid of the http:// on your website address. We're going to say Robbie Ferguson 254-522-8588, which is our phone number here. And then I agree to the terms and conditions, which you can read on the site, and then run a free scan. There we go. Oh. So what's going to actually happen is it is going to start scanning the site. Now I see that, okay, well, because I've already run this scan, they're actually saying, no, it won't allow me to run the scan again. So I'm going to show you, I happen to take a screenshot, which is brilliant of me. Here we go. Oh, and it looks like they may actually let me run it a second time. I better check. So I'd love to show you this. I'll get the screenshot up for you just in case. But if that starts whacking away at our server, which it is, oh, brilliant. Look at this. What's going on? So you see what is actually happening. What they're doing is they're hitting pages on my website that don't even exist. They're trying to get into the root user folder. That tilde means that it's trying to get into root. They're trying to access index.html with a tilde at the end, which is a backup file. They're scanning through all these different files that don't even exist on my website, so my logs are going to show 404. But if you happen to be running one of the pieces of software that they are scanning for exploits, say this site server software happens to be on your server, then they will determine whether or not it is able to be exploited. So then, once that's done, here's the brilliant part. Remember that this is absolutely free. You're going to actually receive a report by email, and it's very, very comprehensive. Now, my report, even though our website came up and Now, we put a lot of work into the security of our website, so I was pleased to find that we actually don't have any critical exploits. You see that our results are very, very good here at Category 5. But it does give me some info, and there are 12 pages here to this comprehensive report that tells me some of the things that I can do to increase the security of my website. Where it's going to get a lot different is if you happen to have a script running on your site, Joomla, whatever, that is exploitable. And what I mean by that is somebody could inject code into your website. They could use your server to control other computers or to send out mass email, or they could break your website or compromise your user data. You often hear about big companies that somebody hacked into their database and were able to steal user passwords, things like that. Usually that's how it's done. They're going to be using some kind of form of SQL injection, which is going to be tested for by this scan. So do check it out. It's cat5.tv/stopthehacker. It is free to get that report. It's going to tell you all the different things that are concerns about your website. They do also offer some really, really cool services that I'm just going to really quickly just let you know about. It basically, they can operate very much like a antivirus product, an anti-malware product for your actual website. So if you've got the report and you decide, you know what, I really want to make this an ongoing thing, you can actually go through, let's say, a small business plan, and starting at $10 a month, you can get reputation monitoring and blacklist monitoring, which is going to tell you if anything has happened on your website that you should be concerned about. It's going to scan for known malware, scan for viruses, and it's going to scan every single page on your website. And then, pardon me, the plans can go up from there. The reason I show you that is because you can actually have a proactive scan running on your website so that you don't have to manually run this free report every time. Also, some of the plans that they offer will automatically remove malware from your website. Everything that I've shown you so far, all that it does is it tells you if there is a problem, and then it's up to you to actually do something about it. So don't think that what I've shown you tonight is going to fix your problems. What I want to show you tonight is we want to know, is there a problem? Is there something on your website that you need to be knowledgeable about and aware of that somebody could exploit or possibly is already exploiting, and using server resources, attacking your customers and possibly compromising their confidentiality. Those are the things. So once you know, and if you find that, I actually do have a lot of critical threats here, then you need to contact your local web designer, or if you know how to program your way around it, it will give you some suggestions. But essentially you need to get those holes patched, get them fixed up at that point. And that's where, with Category 5, with our report coming up as showing that we have no critical issues at this time, I could get all, I'm so good at security and I'm so great and I'm way ahead of the hackers and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is that the hackers are always working to exploit and always working to compromise your data. So should I get like that and be all confident and now I ran a report in 2013, I know I'm safe? No, because they're still working on it. So you need to continue to work on it as well. At the very least, every 6 months, be doing something to make sure that your website is absolutely safe, not just for your users, but for you, for your company's reputation, and for your blog, for whatever it is that you do. It's a good practice, absolutely. And of course, now that you're dealing with that, welcome to the world of website administration. That's what it's about. Sometimes I'm sitting there hacking the hackers, I call it, when the hack comes and you're fighting.
Well, it's definitely something you have to, take in hand. Like, you have to be in control of the security of your site. Your users want to make sure that they're safe going onto your site. Mm-hmm. And I think by increasing your reputation just by a scan is a big thing for even your site as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's all about increasing your reputation for your customers as well. And
just maintaining it. I mean, you work so hard to get up there in Google. Why lose it on account of somebody hacking your site and defacing you? I think it's a tough thing too, because I've seen it happen where a customer will, they'll buy a website long ago, get it built, want a content management system. So, of course, you're looking at something like Drupal or Joomla or something along those lines, WordPress. And then for 5 years, they do nothing. And then when it happens, because it will happen, pretty much guarantee you, somebody exploits the site, and what does it come down to? Who are we going to blame? Do we blame the person who set up the website for us in the first place, or do we blame the web host because they should be protecting you? No, it's up to you to make sure that your website is safe, because it's your code and it's your responsibility to keep that up to date. So hopefully I've equipped you tonight with some tools that are going to help you to understand what you need on your website. Check out Linux on your Linux box. Check out cat5.tv/stopthehacker from any computer to scan your website and find out what's going on. And let us know if those have been helpful for you. So,
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
No problem.
Ready for the news?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right.
So here are the top stories from the Category 5 newsroom. So robots are a step closer to reading our thoughts. Thanks to researchers at the University of Minnesota, biomedical engineers in the university's College of Science and Engineering have developed a non-invasive system that allows people to control flying robots by using only their minds. The engineers created a skull cap fitted with 64 electrodes that can track the electrical activity of a subject's brain. The brain signals were sent to a computer, which has translated them into Wi-Fi commands to a 4-blade flying robot. So, for example, when a research subject was asked to think about making a fist with his right hand, the robot would move to the right. The subject didn't have to actually make a fist to see the robot perform the command.
Oh, it's just all thought.
It's all thought process. But the subjects were able to get good enough to maneuver the flying robot through 2 large rings suspended from a gymnasium ceiling. The lead researchers, Bin He, a biomedical engineering professor, said that the technology has the potential to create thought-controlled wheelchairs, artificial limbs, or other devices for use by people who are paralyzed or have neurodegenerative diseases.
Yeah, that's a cool point, because I'm like, okay, that's really, really cool, neat technology, but imagine if somebody who is completely unable to use their limbs, for example, could control a wheelchair and
just by their thoughts.
Just to be able to enjoy that part of life, to be able to get around. That's awesome. The technology can be that far along.
And it's just to be able to function normally. Like, you have to, I'm not sure how the limb technology works today, but I think if you can control it with a thought, that is being able to function like a normal person. You wouldn't feel this big difference between you and somebody else, because you both have to think to move your arms. So who cares if if that arm is plastic? You both are thinking to move it.
Yeah, if they could get it to that point where it's actually, they talk about lifting up your right fist. Well, imagine if you could actually do that with a robotic arm just by thinking about it. That's like borderline miraculous.
Crazy.
That's awesome. Cool.
So, also in the news, schools are being urged to sign up for a code-breaking competition aimed at developing the next generation of cybersecurity experts. Teenagers from 14 to 16 will put their wits against each other to break secret messages and then write their own. Schools will score points for coming up with the toughest codes, and then have a virtual contest attempting to crack those of codes of other schools. It is an extension of what is known as a cybersecurity challenge, which is in its 4th year and designed to find and encourage people to work in computer security, protecting people and organizations from hackers and computer viruses.
Isn't that's so interesting? I think about all these codebreaker iOS apps and things. And so, like, are they, like, monitoring? And wouldn't that be weird if, you got an email, or you got a pop-up in the game, and, hey, you're one of our number one codebreakers, come work for the FBI. Dun, 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 dun. But they're doing it with kids.
They're doing
That's
it
cool.
with kids.
Kind of a little bit creepy,
Whoa.
but cool nonetheless. What's this? What is this?
Oh, that looks like the PS4.
Nice.
So Sony is set to sell the PlayStation 4 for a cheaper price than Microsoft's rival Xbox One. The Japanese firm announced at the E3 trade show that its machine will be sold for £345. In the UK, for $399. In the UK for £349, sorry. And in the US for $399 and €399 across Europe. It added that it would not impose restrictions on second-hand games.
Oh, that's a little jab at Microsoft right there.
Yeah. And Sony also revealed that its box would look like having previously kept the design under wraps at its February PS4 press conference.
Is it just me, or is it... It's like, it's the PS4. It's boxier than the PS3, but otherwise the same.
It looks the same.
Looks the same, but just boxier.
And the controller's thinner.
Is it a little bit thinner? There you go.
Maybe.
It could just be the angle. Yeah.
Could be. So, for many in the audience at the Los Angeles event, the scale of the price difference came as the biggest shock. Earlier in the day, Microsoft had revealed its new console would cost £429 in the UK, and $499 in the US, and €499 across Europe. So Stefan Toledo, editor-in-chief of the gaming news site Kotaku, said Microsoft is going to need to look again at the price or explain why it offers better value, such as the inclusion of its Kinect sensor.
Okay, PS4 versus Xbox One. Go. From past experience with Xbox 360 and PS3. What do you think is the best system?
I don't know. It's hard because I'm such a Microsoft lover when it comes.
Oh!
It's hard because I love the game quality.
No intelligent life down here.
I'm just not. I love the PS3. I love Fallout. I love the games.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm a Microsoft fangirl.
There's just something about Microsoft that I like about the Xbox.
Sorry that I asked, folks.
Except the Red Ring of Death. That's the only thing I don't like. So I could say PS3 has that. It's never once, given me this deathly ring that I have to go, call up my dad to pay for and fix or sit there at the dinner table, start tweaking for a week because I can't be playing my Xbox. I grew up with always, wanting to play Halo after school. My favorite games were on the Xbox.
Jot is reminding us that Fallout is a PC game as well, which ironically would be on Windows. Right? But even still, it's a valid point. You don't need to go out and buy an Xbox 364. Dave Maydew votes for the PlayStation any day. Especially today. So I am sorry. I really don't like to have to censor the show after the fact. I mean, to have to go back and post-produce, and I love Microsoft and beep. Erica. What else you got for me?
Well, okay, it's better than Microsoft.
So it's like a flaming bag of... No,
wonderfulness.
Yes.
But you better watch out, groundhogs, because Honda engineers are racing to build the world's fastest lawnmower after being put up by the test by Top Gear magazine.
No.
Yeah, the world's fastest lawnmower. That's even better than the Xbox. They are targeting a speed of 130 miles per hour. That could
On a lawnmower?
On a lawn? That's faster than I've ever driven in a car.
Ever.
Legally.
Wowzers.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so that would easily beat the current road speed record. That is 96.5 miles per hour, claimed by the fuel addictive firm Gold Eagle. A first look at the machine showing flames coming out of the exhaust has been posted online.
Oh boy.
The British Lawnmower Racing Association, yes, that's a real thing, said Top Gear's mower would not be able to compete in the July's World Championship because of the strict limits on the number of modifications allowed on the motors and the bodies of the lawnmower. Honda said it had simply taken on the project to promote its sporty credentials.
Unreal. Yeah, because when I think of sporty companies, I think, yeah, well, how fast does your lawnmower go?
Well, faster than yours, because it can go faster than my car.
That's crazy. Imagine what that would do to your your grass. Especially if you've got hills.
What about grass quality? Like, if you're just flying over hills?
I get the impression that it's actually like something that people do. Like, get on their lawnmowers and race.
Well, I guess in the UK, it is a thing there. It's a thing there. Like,
you guys make fun of us for living in igloos and stuff. Goodness me.
You guys are racing your lawn. What if someone starts using it, like, you know when you have those dirt bikes on the side of the road? Like,
right.
Not dirt bikes, but...
like a four-wheeler or something.
Like a four-wheeler, or when they have Vespas. Or, like, you know, like little motorized vehicles. What if they start using these on the side of the road?
Danger.
Because,
Danger.
Yeah, it's just...
And what if you were able to control it with your thoughts? Ah. Cool.
Well, you guys can also get the full stories at Category5.tv newsroom. The Category5.tv newsroom is researched by Roy W. Nash with contributions by our community of viewers. If you have a news story you think is worthy for an on-air mention, email newsroom at category5.tv. And then for the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Erica Lalonde.
Thanks, Erica. Tonight's show is brought to you in part by Netflix. Get your free 1-month trial at cat5.tv/Netflix. Also, Category 5 Technology TV is brought to you in part by NetTalk at cat5.tv/phone. And now they've got unlimited text messaging. You can eliminate the need for a wireless text plan with your cell phone provider. We were mentioning off the top, I mean, data plans can be really, really expensive. Well, now you can wipe it out by getting a NetTalk Duo device. Check out cat5.tv/phone for more details. That is the NetTalk Duo, and that's the Wi-Fi right there, which... it's pretty brilliant because you can connect it to the internet with no cables. Just plug in your phone and go. Awesome. Well, I would love to get into some viewer questions if we could. I love receiving your questions live at category5.tv. Thanks for sending them in to us. And of course, we're trying to watch the chat room as fast as we can too. It's kind of flying by as well.
Yes.
But email us live at category5.tv to try to make sure that we get in. Before we do that, I should mention... last week it happened where we were just about to sign on the air and we got an email and we didn't actually even get to see it until just after we had signed off. And I was like, oh! So I just want to give shouts out because Robert Gazinski wrote us last week and said, tonight's my mom's birthday. And could you just wish her a happy birthday? So even though we're a week late, I just want to say a very, very happy birthday on behalf of Category 5 TV from here in Canada.
Yes.
Happy belated birthday, and we really appreciate your boy. You've raised him well. All right, so
That's
we can
awesome.
jump into the viewer questions.
Of course. So for We have a viewer question. It's more of a congratulations. From D Kelly 810.
Hey, D Kelly.
She's sending our congratulations to Abigail and Dennis. Abigail, just for the congratulations of their wedding. The email.
Oh, yes, from Dennis. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, because no, she married Kyle.
From Dennis.
What are you talking about? Okay. Yeah, Abigail Smith, now Abigail Page, is married. It's been a couple or a few weeks now, and she's back from the honeymoon and raring to go. So, congratulations. Thank you for sending that in, for sure.
And we have one from Some Little Shoe.
Hey!
I just watched your video about setting up Wirecast. I saw you adjusting the saturation, brightness, and etc. on your cam picture. Adjusting the picture like that is a part of what Wirecast can do, or did you change the picture color and brightness of the cam on your computer?
Right. Okay. So we demonstrated, just to go back a little ways. That was your first episode, wasn't it?
I think
when we
so.
looked at how to connect a bunch of cameras to Telestream Wirecast.
Was that episode 236?
Let's see how good her memory is, folks.
236.
I'm going over to category5.tv.
Or 237.
And in the search box over at the right-hand side here, I'm typing in Wirecast, and we'll use Microsoft LifeCam Studio, because those are the cameras that we were using that episode. So, 236.
Yes.
Well done. That was one of your 12 guesses. So, how cool. Okay. So, on that episode, so that's how you can find it, episode number 236. Just going to close that before it starts blasting our audio. What we had done is we showed how to hook up multiple 1080p webcams to Telestream Wirecast. And when you saw me adjusting the focus and the saturation and the colors and all that kind of stuff, that is actually a feature of the Microsoft LifeCam Studio driver. So it's not a feature, that in particular is not a feature of Wirecast. Wirecast is a switcher, but it works with the source basically as you provide it. That said, it does provide the ability to go to the source settings, and you can change things like that based on the video cam driver. So cool. So I hope that answers. But that was all part of the driver for the LifeCam. And accessible from within Wirecast. So,
we have another question from Naked Cook.
Hey, Naked Cook.
Like the
Naked
name.
Cook.
So, Robbie, all of the programs on Linux, yours is the most informative.
Hey, thanks.
You guys are amazing, but here's my thing. Most Linux tutorials are based on software. What's the best and is good for me coming from Windows Mac environment? If you buy a computer system 76 that's not available here, it's a lot of money. So if I'm going to build purely for Linux, what do I do? It seems that Linux is more sensitive to hardware, and yes, it is due to the free open source. Your thoughts? And my name is Garth.
Okay, Garth. The whole thing about Linux being more finicky about hardware, really, I don't think it has as much of an impact as it used to. Printers, yeah, you probably want to go with like a brother printer that you know has Linux printer drivers, things like that. But generally speaking, I mean, it's going to work on anything that you throw it on, but some distros may have a different focus and may work better on certain hardware. I know, like if you're using Wi-Fi on a laptop, there may be problems with Ubuntu, but Point Linux may work just fine, or vice versa. That kind of thing can be true, because it's really what they package in with the distribution. So I would think that best thing possibly to do would be to get into forums for the distributions that you're looking at, find out what hardware other people are running. But that doesn't really, these days, yeah, I mean, good guy, System 76 isn't available in their area. I wonder if maybe what you could do is go to System 76, find out the specs, because it's going to display what they're actually using in their builds, and say, okay, well, they chose this motherboard because we know it's compatible with Linux, so maybe we go for that. then build something similar. Not to take the business away from them, but if it's not available to you where you live, then that is what it is, right? So, but I've had really good luck with the things are changing. I stand by NVIDIA. I love NVIDIA, and that's what all of our systems run, and all of our chipsets, even the laptop is NVIDIA chipset, because I wasn't a big fan of AMD and the ATI cards and all that, but those times are changing too. So, I think they're becoming better and better, and who knows, right? So I think it's also personal preference. But to get it working, really Linux, I mean, if you try 3 different distros, probably one of them will hit the nail on the head and it'll work just fine. So it's picking the one that works for you. We switched over to Point Linux, just for an example. We were using PC Linux OS, and PC Linux OS 7 has just been released, just so you know. So if you're using PC Linux OS, awesome. You want to get that. We were using that, and then when they brought out version 6, it's stopped working on our hardware. So that's where we said, okay, now we've got to find another distro. So Ubuntu 12.04 worked, but it was sluggish, and Point Linux worked flawlessly. So you can see, between 3 different distros, one of them is going to work. It's all Linux, but each one is packaged a little bit differently and has support for different hardware in different ways. So, but for the fail-safe, find out some hardware that is already working for people. Get into the forums, Ubuntu forums, and things like that, and find out what people say, what people are using. Ubuntu's a good example because they've got a really big community base, and people will answer your questions there. So
that's awesome. Now we got another question from Jot.
Oh yeah? Hey, John.
Yes. Well, it's more of a personal question.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So according to Robbie's personal website at www.robbieferguson.net, he's known as Robbie Ferguson, aka DJ Robbie F.
Those were
I
the days.
was wondering, does the DJ stand for disc jockey or data jockey? Regards, Jot.
DJ Robbie F was my stage name, so that was all disc jockey stuff. Yeah.
Your stage name?
Yeah.
You had a stage name?
Yeah, back before Becca and I had kids, we were on the stage quite a bit. We played all around Ontario, and yeah, so.
DJ.
Why are people laughing?
It's awesome. No, it's pretty cool.
We did Eurotrance and vocal trance and electronica, and yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're going to pick it up one day, but...
we should bring it on to the show sometime.
Invincible Mutant is my favorite in the chat room. Love you, man. I should mention, too, for our viewers who are joining us from mainland China, really, really exciting news. You know that we've been working on getting that alt feed going so that you have access to the show through the Great Firewall of China. We've actually been able to migrate all feeds together. We're in the process of doing it. We're talking terabytes of data being transferred from one server in California to another server halfway around the world. So that process is underway. We've been running it. The transfer has already taken over 100 hours of consistent transferring. My bandwidth bill is going to be crazy, but what it means to you in mainland China is that you're going to be able to subscribe to our regular feeds. You're going to be able to access the video on our website. It's all going to be transparent to the firewall. So you're going to be able to actually catch the show as other users do. For people in America, in Europe, in Russia and Canada, and everywhere in between where you're not blocked, what you're going to see is that the RSS feeds, everything is going to be a lot faster. Everything is being moved onto a different CDN, and you're going to be able to receive the feeds much, much faster than ever before. So if you want to find out more, check out my blog. It's baldnerd.com, and there is some information there about the tests that we've been running. They were successful and very, very happy to announce. So for those who are from China, just want to let you know. So
that's awesome.
Just reminded me there. So.
And we got one more question from our questions. So, hi Robbie, could you please show how to install Wine and Team Viewer in Point Linux? I jumped from Zorin OS to Point Linux, and so far I haven't been successful in installation of Team Viewer. I understand that it needs Wine to run in Linux. Thank you. Keep up the good work. And best regards from Kivo.
I don't know that it requires wine. I don't think. Maybe it does, but I love the question. I love that. Okay, here I am. I've made the transition over to Point Linux, and probably loving the distribution anyways. But here's the thing: is that we need to learn our way around getting some things to install, because it's not because of a Point Linux thing. It's because Point Linux is based on Debian 7. So it is a whole different beast to anything, that came previously, because we don't have the IA32 libs, and you're running a 64-bit distro, I guarantee you, because otherwise you wouldn't be having any trouble. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think you're running 64-bit, and that's exactly what the problem is. So let's see what we can do. We've got about 10 minutes left of the show, so this is fantastic. I'm going to bring up my web browser. I'm going to get over to TeamViewer. Do a quick search. TeamViewer.com, nice and simple. Okay, download. It's automatically detected that I'm on Linux. Now, I know that I'm on 64-bit Linux. So typically what you would do is, of course, without even thinking about it, you would download that and you would save it or open it with GW Package Manager. And in my case, because I want to show you what's going on, let's actually just download it. And we're going to go sudo dpkg-i for install TeamViewer. There we go. And we're going to see some interesting things go on here. Whole bunch of dependencies unavailable. Well, here's the thing. Okay, it requires IA32 libs. Well, what did I say already? Okay, sudo apt-get install, and let's do IA32 libs. See what happens. Guess what? It doesn't exist. There's no such thing, because we are on Debian 7. It's a multi-arc system as opposed to the old method of doing things. So it's new, it's improved, it's fantastic, but you need to understand your way around. Now, the problem is, because they've built the TeamViewer 64-bit package as if it has a requirement for IA32 libs, you're right, you can't install it. But what you can do is you can go with the 32-bit. So what we'll do is we're going to grab that 32-bit file. You'll see that now they've actually, looks like, updated their website to say also this will work for multi-arc. So let's do it. I'm going to grab that file. So anytime you see multi-arc, remember, that's you now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ls, and I see that I've got not just the 64-bit, but also the 32-bit. So I'm going to go sudo dpkg-i teamviewerlinux.deb, enter. Okay, so there were some errors. Couldn't find package libxtst6 installed. So what we'll do is we'll do sudo apt-get install libxtst6 :i386, because we need the 32-bit version of that, because that's what we're installing here, and hit enter. And we'll see now that's actually forced TeamViewer to continue installing. Processing triggers for menu, blah, blah, blah. We're done. So now we can go sudo apt-get update. We should get no errors unless we misspell update. There we go. So should be no errors. Here we go. And if there are any errors, we can do a -f. I'll show you how to do that. If you get any errors about some packages missing, we can do this. Okay, so you see I've got no errors, so I'm good to go. Sudo apt-get install -f will simply force anything that needs to be installed that's required. So now that that's done, okay, and I'll post all the information in the show notes for episode number 299. All right, so you'll see all the commands that I'm throwing in here into terminal, and you can do it at your own pace. Let's see if TeamViewer is now on my menus. Yes, TeamViewer 8. You see it is on Internet. Okay, so let's give it a try. TeamViewer 8. There we go. Accept my license, and we're in. We're set. So that's all there is to it. Keep in mind that TeamViewer is free for non-commercial use only, and of course, if you want to use it for commercial use, you need to purchase a license. So, but there you go. Working in Point Linux. This is the same version that you're running. So,
That's
cool. Thank you very much for the question.
No problem. Good Guy was saying in the chat that he couldn't get the NVIDIA driver working on Point Linux.
NVIDIA, okay. So for that, what I do is go into Synaptic Package Manager. Okay. And type NVIDIA as your quick search. And you see, I've already got it installed because I did this when I first installed my system. There's a package called NVIDIA-Detect. Simply install that. So then, go to your terminal and type sudo NVIDIA-Detect and hit enter. You'll see that it is recommended to install this package, NVIDIA-GLX. So you can copy that to your clipboard, go back to Synaptic Package Manager and type NVIDIA-GLX, and you'll see that that is somewhere. There it is. Okay, so that package has installed some other things. That's why I'm seeing more things there. So I installed that package, reboot the computer, and then we're good to go. So NVIDIA Detect is actually going to tell you in Point Linux which driver am I supposed to use. Then you just find that package. It tells you which package to install. Reboot your computer. It's literally that easy. I mean, gone are the days where installing a video driver is tough. You know, when you had to kill X sessions and go through all those hoops and all that kind of stuff. It's that easy. So good luck. Let us know if that solved it for you, okay? Because that would be awesome. Any other questions for us while we're still here? In the meantime, just to let you know, big news. I mean, next week is a huge show. You know, this is episode number 299. Next week, Carrie Webb is going to be joining us in studio. We are going to be having a look back, hosted by Carrie Webb, the original, very first co-host of Category 5 TV. She was here from seasons 1 and 2, and she's going to be hosting the show. So it's a really special episode. We're going to actually be looking back over 300 episodes of Category 5 TV just to kind of refresh, you know, where have we come from. We're going to look at some of the early days and then scream through all the way up to episode number 300 within hopefully about an hour. So, then following the show, it's a very special broadcast, but following the show, get your webcam set up, get Google Plus up and running, and you'll be able to join the Google Plus Hangout. We're actually going to be sitting in the studio, not just me, not just Carrie, but a handful of the co-hosts and myself, and lots of people are going to be here, and we're going to be chatting with you. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So think of your questions or comments about Category 5, and that's the way to go. Other thing that, thank you for reminding me, we love to give stuff away, and this is here to remind me. You remember we reviewed this product. This is the NewerTech 7-port USB 2.0 hub, but it has a 2.1 amp powered output, so you can recharge your iPad, whatever device. You can power a TV, like mini PC unit, whatever. It's 2.1 amps dedicated power. It's fantastic. This is, it's 7 ports, USB 2.0. It's a really sleek little device, and they've sent us one to give away after we reviewed it several months ago. So really excited to have that for you. That we're going to be giving away 2 weeks from tonight. All you have to do is be in the chat room, and if you can't be in the chat room during the live show, send me an email tonight, live@category5.tv. Doesn't have to be tonight. Just between now and then, make sure you send me an email. Let me know where you're from, and then we will include you in that draw, live@category5.tv. We'll send this anywhere in the world, so we want you to win it. All right? It's awesome. It's from Newer Technology, and we're going to post all the links, all the information in the show notes for episode number 299, but it's newertech.com. Newertech.com. Check them out and win one of those in a couple weeks. So I think that's all the time that we have.
That is all the time we have for today.
Phew.
Well,
thanks, folks. The only thing left to say as I look over my things to do tonight, wowzers. Tonight's show is brought to you in part by Erica's Shirt, adzerk.com, the world's fastest asynchronous ad code. If you've got a website, tonight you learned how to detect whether or not it's safe. Now you want to actually make money off of it. You can sell some ads. Use AdZerk to be able to track all of the advertising that you put into your website. It's adzerk.com. Check them out. That's all the time we have. Erica, great to see you. Looking forward to
Yes.
seeing you next week as we celebrate 300 episodes here at Category 5. What a milestone. Join us again, mentioned this Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. We will be live on Category 5 Radio, and you'll find the links on our website and through our Twitter feed as well, Category 5 TV. So have a great week, everybody. See you on episode 300.
See ya later.
Night.
Have a good night.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local show times in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.